Everyone at Westbridge High knew Emma Whitmore. They knew her as the school ice queen, the girl who always sat in the front row, the girl who never missed a deadline, the girl who could win a debate, organize an entire school event, and still get the highest score on the hardest exam. People admired her. Some people feared her. And a lot of people wanted to know her. But almost nobody knew what Emma was actually like. Because the Emma everyone saw at school was not the same Emma I knew. My name was Noah Bennett. And unlike Emma, I was not someone people noticed. I was the guy who helped teachers move equipment. The guy who repaired broken laptops. The guy who stayed after class to clean up because nobody else wanted to. I wasn't popular. I wasn't mysterious. I wasn't the kind of person people expected Emma Whitmore to spend time with, which was probably why our friendship surprised everyone. It started because of a stack of books. Not a dramatic moment. Not a big confession. Not some perfect movie scene. Just books. It was a rainy Thursday afternoon. Most students had already left. I was walking toward the school entrance when I saw Emma standing near the library steps. She was holding a stack of textbooks. A very large stack. And she looked annoyed. Not angry. Not upset. Just annoyed. Which, for Emma, was basically the same thing as admitting she needed help. I walked closer. Need a hand? She looked up. For a second, her expression returned to the one everyone knew. Calm. Cold. Perfect. I'm fine. I looked at the books. Then at her. You're holding 17 books. 16. I counted. 17. She looked down, then quietly said, Fine. I smiled. That might have been the first time I saw Emma Whitmore admit she was wrong. Where are they going? I asked. My house. I looked surprised. Your house? Yes. You're walking? Yes. In the rain? She looked at the sky. It's barely raining. At that exact moment, thunder sounded. I raised an eyebrow. She looked away. Okay. She admitted. It's raining. I laughed. And something unexpected happened. Emma smiled. Not the polite smile she gave teachers. Not the small expression she used when someone complimented her. A real smile. That was the first time I realized something. The Ice Queen wasn't cold. She was just rarely given a reason to be warm. I took half the books. She immediately said, You don't have to. I know. Then why? I shrugged. Because you're carrying too many. She looked at me. That's your reason? Yes. She seemed confused. Most people would ask something. Like what? I don't know. She thought. Why I need help. Why I didn't ask someone else. Why I'm not doing it myself. I looked at her. Do you want me to ask? No. Then I won't. For some reason, that answer stayed with her. We walked through the neighborhood near the school. At first, it was quiet. Emma was not someone who talked just to fill silence. Neither was I. But then she surprised me. Do you like books? I looked at her. Is that a serious question? Yes. You're carrying 16 of them. She looked down. Fair. I smiled. I like some. Which ones? And somehow, we ended up talking the entire walk. Not about grades. Not about achievements. Not about college applications. Just books. Movies. Random things. Normal things. Things nobody expected Emma Whitmore to care about. When we reached her house, I was surprised. It wasn't a huge mansion. It wasn't some impossible luxury home. It was a warm-looking house with flowers near the door. Before I could put the books down, the front door opened. A woman stepped outside. Emma immediately stood straighter. Mom. Her mother looked at me, then at the books, then back at Emma, and smiled. Oh. I suddenly felt nervous. Because Emma's mother had the exact same expression Emma had when she knew something. What? Emma asked. Her mother looked at me, then said, So this is the boy you keep talking about. I froze. Emma froze too. Mom. Her mother smiled. What? Emma's face changed. Not the Ice Queen. Not the perfect student. A completely embarrassed girl. You said his name so many times that I was starting to think I would meet him before you admitted you liked him. My brain stopped. Wait. I looked at Emma. Like me? Emma immediately looked away. Mom. Her mother laughed. What? You're the one who said he was different. Mom. You're the one who said he noticed things nobody else did. Mom. You're the one who. Mom. Emma finally stepped forward. I think that's enough. Her mother smiled. Okay. Then she looked at me. It's nice to meet you, Noah. I nodded awkwardly. Nice to meet you too. On the walk home, I couldn't stop thinking about one sentence. This is the boy you keep talking about. Emma had talked about me? To her mom? Why? The next day at school, I found Emma in the hallway. She immediately knew. You heard. I smiled. Apparently I'm famous in your house. She looked embarrassed. I'm sorry. For what? For my mom. I laughed. No. She looked surprised. No? I think it's funny. You do? Yes. She looked down. Good. There was a pause. Then I asked, what did you tell her? Emma became quiet, and for the first time, she looked nervous around me. A lot. Like? She looked away. Like you always help people. A pause. That you never expect anything back. Another pause. That you make people feel comfortable. I smiled. Emma. Yes? Those are normal things. She looked at me. No. Her voice was quiet. They're not. Then she walked away, leaving me with the strangest feeling. Because I always thought Emma Whitmore was the person everyone wanted to know. But maybe I was the person she had been waiting to introduce to someone important. Her mom. And I had no idea why. Until later that afternoon, I received a message from Emma. Emma, can I ask you something? I replied. Me, sure. A few seconds later. Emma, would you help me again tomorrow? I smiled. Me, carry more books? Her reply came quickly. Emma, no. Emma, I want to show you something. I stared at the message. Because somehow, I knew the books were never the important part. They were just the reason Emma finally let me walk into her world. The next afternoon, Emma was waiting outside the library. Not inside. Not surrounded by books. Not sitting at her usual table. Waiting. That alone was unusual. Emma Whitmore was not someone who waited for people. People waited for her. You're early, I said. She looked at her watch. You're 2 minutes late. I laughed. Hello to you too. A tiny smile appeared on her face. Hi. That was Emma. To everyone else, she was impossible to approach. With me, she complained when I was late by 2 minutes. Where are we going? I asked. You'll see. I sighed. You and your secrets. She looked at me. You still came. Because I was curious. No. She shook her head. Because you trust me. I didn't answer. Because she was right. We walked away from the main part of campus. Past the football field. Past the science building. Past the places students usually gathered. Until we reached the old community garden behind the school. I stopped. I didn't know this was here. Emma smiled. Most people don't. The garden was quiet. Small. There were flowers along the path, wooden benches, and a few old trees that covered most of the area with shade. It didn't look like a place Emma would visit, which was exactly why I knew she did. You come here? I asked. Yes. Why? She walked toward one of the benches. Because nobody expects me to be here. That answer surprised me. I sat beside her. People expect a lot from you. She looked down. Yes. The wind moved through the trees. For a while, neither of us spoke. Then Emma said, Do you know what my mom asked me after you left yesterday? I smiled. Probably something embarrassing. She looked at me. Correct. I laughed. What did she ask? Emma hesitated. She asked why I never invited you inside before. I raised an eyebrow. And? I didn't know how to answer. That surprised me. You didn't? She shook her head. Because I've wanted to. I became quiet. Then why didn't you? Emma looked at the garden. Because I was afraid. I almost laughed. You? Yes. The school ice queen? She gave me a look. Stop calling me that. I smiled. Sorry. She continued. I'm good at handling people when they expect something from me. But when someone actually matters. She paused. I don't know what to do. That was probably the most honest thing Emma had ever said. Your mom said you talk about me. I finally said. Her face changed. Immediately. Did she? Yes. I'm sorry. I laughed. Why are you apologizing? Because she shouldn't have told you. Why? She looked away. Because now you know. Know what? Emma was silent. Then. That I notice you. I didn't expect that answer. Notice me? Yes. Emma, everyone notices you. She shook her head. That's different. How? People notice what I achieve. She looked at me. I notice who you are. I didn't know what to say. Because I had spent years feeling like I was always in the background. But Emma was telling me I had never been invisible to her. Do you remember why I asked you to carry those books? She asked. I smiled. Because you had too many? No. I looked confused. Then why? She looked down. Because I wanted an excuse. An excuse? To spend time with you. That caught me completely off guard. Emma. Yes? You could have just asked. She smiled. I know. Then why make up a reason? Because asking you directly felt harder. I laughed. The girl who gives speeches in front of 500 people was nervous about asking me for a walk? Yes. That makes no sense. It does. She looked at me. You're the only person I care about impressing. My heart skipped. Before I could answer, she stood up. Come with me. Another place? Yes. More secrets? Maybe. She took me to a small building beside the garden. A storage room. Emma unlocked the door. Inside were boxes. Lots of boxes. I looked confused. What is this? She walked to one box. My memories. She opened it. Inside were old school items. Photos. Notes. Event cards. Then she pulled out something. A small notebook. I recognized it. Is that? Yes. Your notes? She nodded. I opened the first page. The handwriting was hers. Things I don't want to forget. I looked at her. You kept a notebook? Yes. About what? She was quiet, then answered. About people. I flipped through the pages. Names. Dates. Small memories. Then I saw my name. I stopped. Noah Bennett. Under it, the person who fixed my computer but never asked for thanks. Next page. The person who stayed after the event even though nobody asked him to. Next. The person who carried my books home in the rain. I looked up. Emma. She looked nervous. I know it's strange. No. It is. No. I closed the notebook. It's not strange. She looked surprised. Really? Yes. Why? I smiled. Because you remembered things that mattered. For the first time that day. Emma looked relieved. Then her phone rang. She checked it. Her expression changed. What happened? I asked. She showed me the screen. A message from her mother. Mom, dinner tonight. Bring Noah. I laughed. Your mom invited me? Emma looked embarrassed. Yes. Why? She sighed. Because apparently. She looked at me. My mom wants to meet the person I keep talking about. I smiled. Again? Emma looked away. Don't remind me. But as we walked back, I realized something. Emma didn't show me the garden because it was special. She showed me because it was the one place where she didn't have to be the ice queen. And now, she was letting me see that version of her. The real one. I thought meeting Emma's family would be stressful. I was wrong. It was terrifying. There was a big difference. I had faced angry teachers. I had presented projects in front of hundreds of students. I had fixed expensive equipment while everyone watched. But walking toward Emma's house that evening, my hands were actually nervous. Because this wasn't school. This wasn't the library. This was Emma's world. And somehow, I was being invited into it. You're nervous, Emma said. We were standing outside her front door. I looked at her. How do you know? You've checked your phone 4 times. I immediately put my phone away. I was not checking my phone. You were. I was checking the time. 4 times? I sighed. Okay, maybe. For a moment, she smiled. Then she did something unexpected. She reached over and fixed my jacket collar. I froze. Emma. Yes? You're doing that thing. What thing? The thing where you act like everything is normal. She looked confused. Isn't it? I laughed. Your mom invited me to dinner because apparently I'm the boy you keep talking about. Yes. You don't think that's unusual? She thought for a second. No. Why? Because it's true. That answer was so simple. So completely Emma. Before I could respond, the door opened. Her mother smiled. There you are. Then she looked at me. Noah. I immediately stood straighter. Hello, Mrs. Whitmore. She laughed. Please call me Claire. Okay. Come in. The first thing I noticed about Emma's house was that it didn't feel like I expected. I expected something cold. Perfect. Like a museum. But it wasn't. There were family photos on the walls. Books everywhere. Plants near the windows. It felt warm. It felt like Emma. Not the Emma everyone saw. The Emma nobody knew. During dinner, Claire asked me questions. Not uncomfortable questions. Not the kind adults usually ask students. Real questions. What do you enjoy doing? What kind of things make you happy? What do you want to do after graduation? And strangely, I didn't feel judged. I felt like she actually wanted to know. Then halfway through dinner, Claire smiled. Noah. Yes? I finally understand. I looked confused. Understand what? She looked at Emma. This is why. Emma immediately knew. Mom. What? I looked between them. What is happening? Claire laughed. For 3 years, Emma has come home and talked about the same person. My eyes widened. 3 years? Emma looked embarrassed. Mom. Claire ignored her. At first, I thought she was talking about a classmate. She would say things like, he helped someone today. He fixed something nobody else could fix. He stayed late again. I looked at Emma. She avoided eye contact. Claire smiled. Eventually, I realized something. What? She wasn't describing what you did. A pause. She was describing how you made her feel. The room became quiet. Emma looked down. And for once, the Ice Queen had no response. After dinner, Emma and I walked outside. The air was cool. The neighborhood was quiet. I looked at her. You really talked about me for 3 years? She sighed. Yes. Why? She thought. Because things happened. What things? She looked at me. Small things. She started counting. The day you stayed after school to help a freshman fix his laptop. The day you gave your seat to someone who was injured. The day you defended a student everyone blamed unfairly. I stared. I barely remember those. I know. Then why do you? Emma smiled. Because you never did them for attention. I became quiet. Because that was probably the biggest difference between us. Emma was always seen. I was always watching. She understood what it felt like to be noticed. I understood what it felt like not to be. Maybe that was why we worked. Emma. Yes? Can I ask something? Of course. Why didn't you ever tell me? She knew what I meant. Why didn't you tell me you liked me? Why didn't you tell me you talked about me? Why didn't you let me know I mattered? She looked ahead. Because I wasn't sure. About what? About whether you would believe me. That surprised me. Why wouldn't I? She smiled sadly. Because you never see yourself the way other people see you. I didn't know how to answer. Because she was right. When we returned to the house, Claire called Emma. Emma. Yes? Can Noah see the photo? Emma immediately froze. What photo? Claire smiled. The one from freshman year. Emma's face changed. Mom. What? I looked curious. What photo? Claire walked over to a shelf. She picked up a framed picture and handed it to me. I looked down. It was Emma. Freshman year. Standing in front of the school. And beside her was me. I froze. Wait. That's me. Yes. But I don't remember taking this. Emma looked away. Because you didn't. I looked at her. Then when was it? Claire smiled. The day Emma came home and said she met someone different. I stared at the picture. Because suddenly I realized something. Emma had been telling her mother about me. Long before I even knew I mattered to her. On the way home, I kept thinking about that picture. About that day. About a version of Emma I had never known. Then my phone buzzed. A message from Emma. Emma, did tonight make you uncomfortable? I smiled. Me, no. A few seconds later. Emma, really? Me, really. Then I added. Me, but I have a question. She replied immediately. Emma, what? I typed. Me, what exactly did you tell your mom about me? The reply took longer this time. Finally. Emma, a lot. Me, like? 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. Then appeared again. Finally. Emma, like that I hoped someday you would realize. I waited. Her next message arrived. Emma, you were never just the person who helped carry my books home. I stared at the screen. Then another message. Emma, you were the person I always wanted to bring home. I stopped walking. Because suddenly, I understood why her mother looked at me like she already knew me. She had been waiting to meet me. Just like Emma had been waiting for me to notice her. Chapter 4, the story I never knew I was part of. The next morning at school, everything felt normal. Which was strange. Because yesterday, I had dinner at Emma Whitmore's house. Her mother knew my name. Her family had photos of me. And apparently, Emma had spent 3 years talking about me. Yet when I walked into Westbridge High, Emma was still Emma. She walked through the hallway with her usual calm expression. Students moved aside. Teachers greeted her. Everyone knew her. Then she saw me. And the smallest smile appeared. Nobody else would notice. But I did. Because I had learned something important. The Ice Queen had different versions of herself. the version the school knew, and the version she saved for people she trusted. "Good morning," she said when she reached me. I smiled. "Good morning." A few seconds passed. Then she looked at me. "You're thinking." I laughed. "How do you know?" "Because you're quiet." "I'm usually quiet." "Not like this." I looked away. She knew me too well. "Your mom showed me a picture." Emma immediately stopped walking. "What picture?" "The freshman year one." Her expression changed. "Oh, that's all?" She looked slightly embarrassed. "Yes." "Emma." "What? You had that picture for years?" "Yes." "Why?" She looked ahead. "Because I liked remembering that day." "Why?" She was quiet. Then, "Because it was the first time I met someone who didn't know he was important." That answer stayed with me. Because I still didn't understand. I understood why people liked Emma. She was brilliant, beautiful, confident. But why would someone like that remember me? At lunch, I found Emma sitting alone. That was normal for her. The strange part was, she had saved a seat. For me. I sat down. "You're making this obvious," I said. She looked confused. "What?" "Everyone sees you saving me a seat." "Yes." "You don't care?" "No." "Why?" She opened her lunch. "Because I spent 3 years pretending I didn't want anyone to notice." A pause. "I'm tired of pretending." I smiled. "That sounds unlike you." "It is." "Then why change?" She looked at me. "Because I realized something." "What?" "I spent so long protecting my image." A pause. "That I almost forgot to protect what actually mattered." I became quiet. Emma was always surprising me. Not because she did dramatic things, but because underneath all that confidence, she was actually someone who cared deeply. After lunch, something happened. Something I didn't expect. A girl from our class, Sophie, came over. She was one of Emma's closest friends. She looked at me, then at Emma. "So?" I immediately knew that tone was dangerous. "What?" Emma asked. Sophie smiled. "You finally told him?" Emma froze. "Told me what?" I asked. Sophie covered her mouth. "Oh." Emma looked at her. "Sophie." "What?" "You weren't supposed to say that." "Sorry." I looked between them. "What am I missing?" Sophie sighed. "Nothing." Emma and I both looked at her. She gave up. "Fine." She sat down. "Do you know how many times Emma almost told you?" I looked at Emma. "What?" Emma immediately looked away. "Sophie." "No, seriously." Sophie started counting. Junior year winter dance. Spring festival. Your birthday. The day before finals. I stared. "Wait. You wanted to tell me?" Emma was silent. Then nodded. "Yes." "Why didn't you?" Sophie answered before she could. "Because Emma Whitmore can negotiate with teachers, debate judges, and school officials." But she couldn't figure out how to tell one boy she liked him. Emma gave Sophie a look. "Sophie." She laughed. "I'm just saying." I smiled. Because somehow, this was the first time I saw Emma as a normal girl. Not the ice queen. Not the perfect student. Just a girl who was nervous about someone she liked. After school, Emma and I walked toward the library. "Were you really going to tell me?" I asked. "Yes." "When?" She thought. "Eventually." I laughed. "That's not an answer." "It is." "No, it isn't." She smiled. "You're learning." "Learning what?" "That I'm not always confident." I looked at her. "Really?" "Yes." "That's hard to believe." She stopped walking. "Why?" "Because everyone thinks you have everything figured out." Emma smiled. "Everyone thinks that. And you don't?" "No." A pause. "I just learned how to hide the things I don't know." That was probably the most honest thing she had ever told me. When we reached the library, Emma opened her backpack. She pulled out another notebook. I laughed. "Another one?" "Yes." "How many do you have?" She thought. "3." "3?" "Yes." "Why?" She placed it on the table. "This one is different." I opened it. The title was Things I Wanted to Tell Noah But Didn't. I looked up. "Emma." She looked embarrassed. "I never planned to show you." "Then why now?" She smiled. "Because you finally know." I turned the first page. The first sentence made me stop. Today Noah carried my books home. Below. I wanted to tell him he made an ordinary day feel special. I turned another page. Today Noah defended a student nobody listened to. Below. I wanted to tell him I admire him. Another. Today Noah smiled at me before anyone else noticed I was having a bad day. Below. I wanted to tell him he makes me feel safe. I closed the notebook. Emma. Yes? Why didn't you just tell me these things? She looked at the pages. Because I thought. A pause. Maybe if I said them out loud, they would become less special. I looked at her. And suddenly I understood. Emma didn't keep these notes because she was afraid. She kept them because these moments meant everything to her. Then her phone rang. She checked the screen. Her expression changed. What happened? She handed me the phone. It was a message from the school administration. Senior graduation project update. The final student feature has been selected. Below. The person behind the Ice Queen. I looked at Emma. What is this? She looked surprised. I don't know. The next line appeared. Featured student, Emma Whitmore. Special guest, Noah Bennett. My heart skipped. Because apparently, the school wanted to tell a story. Not about the girl everyone admired, but about the person who made her different. And I had no idea. Emma had already agreed. I thought Emma would refuse. That was my first thought when I saw the graduation project announcement. The person behind the Ice Queen. It sounded exactly like the kind of thing Emma hated. Attention. Public discussion. People looking too closely. But when I looked at her, she wasn't angry. She was thinking. Emma? She looked at me. Yes? You agreed to this? A small pause. Yes. I was surprised. Why? She closed her notebook. Because it's time. Time for what? She looked at the announcement. For people to understand something. What? She smiled slightly. That the Ice Queen was never actually cold. The graduation feature became the biggest topic at school. Everyone wanted to know what it was about. Because Emma Whitmore had always been a mystery. People knew her achievements. They knew her awards. They knew her rankings. But they didn't know her. And now the school wanted to show the person behind everything. The first interview was scheduled after school. The media room was prepared. Cameras. Lights. Microphones. The exact kind of environment where Emma usually looked unstoppable. But when the interviewer asked the first question, Emma, when did you realize you weren't as cold as everyone thought? She actually hesitated. I noticed. Nobody else probably did. But I did. Because I knew her. She looked at me for a second. Then answered. I don't think I was cold. A pause. I think I was careful. The interviewer nodded. Careful about what? Emma looked down. About letting people see things they could hurt. The room became quiet. That answer surprised everyone, including me, because Emma rarely talked about herself. The interviewer continued. Many students say you were impossible to approach. Emma smiled slightly. I know. Why do you think that happened? She thought for a moment. Because people saw what I accomplished. They saw the person who won. They saw the person who always knew what to say. A pause. But they didn't see the person who was tired. I looked at her. Because this was the side of Emma nobody knew. Then the interviewer asked the question everyone expected. Where does Noah fit into this? Emma became still. Even hearing my name changed her expression. She didn't look embarrassed. She looked certain. He reminded me I didn't have to be perfect. The interviewer smiled. Can you explain? Emma looked at me. Then back at the camera. Before Noah, I thought people liked me because I was impressive. But he never cared about that. He cared if I was tired. He cared if I ate lunch. He cared if I was okay. I lowered my eyes. Because hearing someone describe you that way felt strange. Especially someone like Emma. The interviewer turned toward me. Did you know she felt this way? I laughed. No. Why not? Because I didn't think I was doing anything special. Emma immediately looked at me. That's exactly the problem. I looked at her. What? She said quietly. You never think the things you do matter. The room went silent. Because that wasn't an answer for the interview. That was an answer for me. After filming ended, everyone left. Only Emma and I remained. You were different today. I said. She looked surprised. Different? Yes. You mean because I talked? I smiled. Exactly. She looked at the empty room. I'm tired of everyone knowing a version of me that isn't complete. I understood. Because I had the opposite problem. Everyone knew too little about me. Everyone knew too much about Emma. But neither of us had really been seen. Emma. Yes? Why include me? She knew what I meant. Why put me in the spotlight? Why make everyone connect my name with hers? She was quiet. Then she answered. Because if they tell my story, they need to tell the truth. What truth? She looked at me. That I didn't become happier because I achieved more. A pause. I became happier because someone finally saw me. I didn't know how to respond, so I asked the only thing I could. Why me? Emma smiled. You still ask that? Because I still don't understand. She walked closer. Then I'll explain. She took the notebook from the table, the one titled, Things I Wanted to Tell Noah But Didn't. She opened to the last page. There was a new entry. Today's date. Today Noah finally asked why. I looked at her. What does that mean? She smiled. It means you're finally starting to understand. Understand what? She closed the notebook. That I didn't choose you because you were the person who helped carry my books. A pause. I chose you because you were the only person who made me forget I was supposed to carry everything alone. My heart moved. Because suddenly, the title everyone gave her felt wrong. She was never an ice queen. She was just someone who had spent years being strong. And I was the first person who told her she didn't have to be. The next day, the graduation feature poster was released. Everyone gathered around it. At the top was Emma's picture, but the title underneath shocked everyone. Not the School Ice Queen's Achievements. Not the Perfect Student's Journey. Instead, the girl everyone admired. And the boy who knew her first. I stared at the poster. Then my phone buzzed. A message from Emma. Emma, are you scared? I smiled. Me, a little. Her reply came quickly. Emma, me too. I looked at the message. Then another appeared. Emma, but I think this is the first time I'm not afraid of people seeing the real me. A pause. Emma, because you'll be there. I looked back at the poster. For years, everyone wanted to know Emma Whitmore. But maybe, the real story was not how everyone finally saw her. It was how one person saw her first. The graduation feature was supposed to be about Emma. That was what everyone expected. After all, the title was The Girl Everyone Admired, and the Boy Who Knew Her First. Everyone thought they would see the story of the perfect student, the awards, the competitions, the achievements. But when the final video was released, people saw something completely different. They saw Emma. Not the Emma from stage speeches. Not the Emma from award ceremonies. Not the Emma who always looked like she had everything under control. They saw the girl who sat alone in the library after a difficult exam. The girl who stayed late rewriting student council plans because she didn't want to disappoint anyone. The girl who smiled at everyone while quietly carrying pressure nobody knew about. And they saw me. The guy holding a camera in the background. The guy fixing microphones before events. The guy nobody remembered thanking. Until now. The first scene of the video was simple. It showed Emma walking through the school hallway. A narrator spoke. Everyone knows Emma Whitmore. The screen showed her achievements. Student council president, valedictorian, debate champion, scholarship recipient. Then the screen changed. A different picture. Emma sitting alone in the library. The narrator continued. But knowing someone's achievements is not the same as knowing them. Then my first interview appeared. The interviewer asked, "Who is Emma Whitmore?" I thought about it, then answered, "She's someone who always notices when other people need help." The video showed old clips. Emma helping younger students, organizing events, staying after meetings. Everyone expected me to talk about how impressive she was. Instead, I talked about things nobody saw. The thing about Emma is, she remembers everything. She remembers people's birthdays. She remembers when someone is having a bad day. She remembers things everyone else forgets. A pause. But nobody remembers to ask if she's okay. That sentence became the most shared part of the video. Because it was true. Everyone knew Emma, but nobody had really seen her. After the video played during morning announcements, the hallway was completely different. People didn't look at Emma like she was unreachable anymore. They looked at her like she was human. I found her near the library. She was standing by the window. "You watched it," she said. I smiled. "Everyone watched it." She nodded. "I know. You okay?" She looked surprised, then laughed softly. "That's my question." "What?" "You always ask if I'm okay." I smiled. "Someone has to." For a moment, she just looked at me. Then she said, "Do you know what the strange thing is?" "What?" "I spent years trying to become someone everyone respected." She looked outside. "But the person I became happiest with," a pause, "was the person who never cared about my reputation." I leaned against the wall. "You know everyone is talking about us now." "Yes." "Are you bothered?" "No." "Really?" She shook her head. "Before, I was afraid people would misunderstand. Now," she looked at me. Now I know the person who matters understands. That afternoon, something unexpected happened. The principal announced a special graduation ceremony. Not because of grades, not because of awards, because of the graduation feature. The school wanted to recognize the people who made Westbridge better. During the ceremony, the principal walked onto the stage. Today, we want to recognize two students. Everyone knew, Emma and me. Emma walked onto the stage first. She received her award. Then the principal looked toward me. And Noah Bennett. I froze. I walked up. The principal handed me a certificate. The title, Community Impact Recognition Award. I stared. I had never heard of it before. The principal smiled. This award was created because someone noticed something important. He looked at the audience. Some people lead by standing in front. Others lead by making sure everyone else can succeed. A pause. Noah Bennett has spent 4 years doing exactly that. I looked down. Because suddenly, I understood what Emma had been trying to tell me. The things I thought nobody noticed were noticed. Just later than I expected. After the ceremony, Emma found me outside. She smiled. Congratulations. I laughed. You knew? Yes. You knew about the award? Yes. Emma. She smiled. What? You really know everything. Not everything. What don't you know? She thought. Then smiled. What you're thinking right now. I laughed. That's actually true. She looked at me. So? I looked at the certificate in my hand. I think I finally understand. Understand what? Why you kept talking about me. She smiled. Why? Because you weren't trying to make me feel special. A pause. You were reminding me that I already was. For the first time, Emma looked speechless. Then she smiled. A real smile. I was hoping you would figure it out eventually. The graduation ceremony was 3 days away, and everyone thought the story was finished. The school knew about Emma. The school knew about me. Everyone understood why she chose me. But there was one thing nobody knew. Not even me. The night before graduation, Emma sent me a message. Emma, I have one more thing to show you. I smiled. Me, another notebook? A few seconds later. Emma, no. Me, another photo? Emma, no. Then, Emma, this time, I want to show you something I never showed anyone. I stared at the message. Me, what is it? Her reply came slowly. Emma, the reason I knew you were different before you ever knew me. I looked at the screen. Because apparently, after everything I had learned about Emma, there was still a part of the story I didn't know. The place Emma wanted to show me was not the library. Not the garden. Not the gym. It wasn't somewhere special because of what happened there. It was special because of what I never knew happened there. The next afternoon, she took me behind the old arts building. There was a small courtyard. I had walked past it hundreds of times, but I never noticed it. A few trees. A stone bench. A faded wooden sign. That's it? I asked. Emma smiled. Yes. I looked around. You made me wait all day for this? Yes. Why? Because you always underestimate things that matter. I laughed. That sounds like something you would say. It is. We sat down. The courtyard was quiet. No students. No cameras. No one watching. Emma looked at the old building. This was where I first saw you. I smiled. Another first moment? Yes. You have a lot of those. She laughed softly. Because you never noticed them. I thought back. Freshman year. Sophomore year. Junior year. So many small moments. Moments that meant nothing to me. But somehow, they became important to her. What happened here? I asked. Emma looked down. I was having a terrible day. I smiled. That doesn't sound surprising. She looked at me. Why? Because you always pretend you're fine. She smiled. Exactly. She continued. Freshman year, I had just lost my first debate competition. I looked surprised. You lost? Yes. You? She gave me a look. I'm allowed to lose. I know, but everyone else acted like it couldn't happen. She looked at the courtyard. Teachers told me it was just one mistake. Friends told me I would win next time. Everyone tried to make me feel better. A pause. But nobody asked me if I was disappointed. I understood. Because sometimes people tried to fix emotions instead of listening to them. And then? I asked. Then you appeared. I frowned. Me? Yes. What did I do? She smiled. Nothing. I laughed. That's your big story? Yes. You're saying I did nothing? Exactly. I looked confused. Emma explained. You walked into this courtyard. You sat on that bench. And you were eating a sandwich. I thought. I remember. Of course you do. You were there? Yes. She smiled. You didn't know I was upset. You didn't know I had lost. You didn't know everyone was expecting me to be perfect. Then what happened? You just sat there. I laughed. That's it? Yes. She looked at me. Then you noticed I wasn't eating lunch. I remembered. I had offered her half of my sandwich. You said. She smiled. You look like someone who needs this more than I do. I became quiet. Because suddenly, I remembered the moment. I thought it was nothing. Just a sandwich. Just a small gesture. But why did that matter? I asked. Emma looked at me. Because you didn't ask what happened. What? You didn't ask why the perfect student was sitting alone. A pause. You didn't ask if I lost. You didn't ask if I was okay because you wanted a story. She smiled. You just saw someone who needed kindness. I looked away. Because somehow, that was the pattern. Every important moment between us started the same way. I didn't try to impress her. I didn't try to win her. I just treated her like a person. So that was the first time? I asked. The first time you thought I was different? Emma nodded. Yes. Because of a sandwich? She laughed. No. Then? Because you were the first person who gave me something without wanting something back. The wind moved through the trees. For a while, neither of us spoke. Then Emma reached into her bag. She pulled out a small envelope. I laughed immediately. Of course. She looked amused. What? Another envelope? Yes. You really love these. Maybe. I opened it. Inside was a photograph. Not of me. Not of her. A picture of the courtyard. Empty. On the back were words. The place where I stopped wondering if someone would understand me. I looked at her. Emma. Yes? You kept a picture of an empty bench? Yes. Why? She smiled. Because the bench wasn't important. Then what was? She looked at me. You. I shook my head. You really make everything sound important. No. She smiled. I just notice when something is. That evening, we returned to the school auditorium. The graduation decorations were almost finished. Tomorrow was the ceremony. The last day. Emma stood at the entrance. Tomorrow everyone will see the final video. I nodded. The one about you? She shook her head. No. About us? She smiled. Yes. I looked at her. Are you nervous? She thought. Yes. I smiled. You? Yes. Why? She looked at the stage. Because tomorrow everyone will know something. What? That the person everyone thought was following my story. A pause. Was actually the person who changed it. The next day was graduation. The entire school would be there. Parents. Teachers. Students. And for the first time, everyone would see the complete story. Not the story of the Ice Queen. The story of the girl behind her. And the boy who carried her books home. Without realizing he was carrying something much more important. Graduation day arrived. For everyone else, it was the end of high school. For me, it was the day I finally understood the story I had been living without knowing. The auditorium was full. Parents. Teachers. Students. Everyone was dressed in their graduation gowns. And at the center of all the attention was Emma Whitmore, the girl everyone knew, the student council president, the valedictorian, the school ice queen. But today, I knew something nobody else did. The Ice Queen was never the real story. The real story was the girl who kept a notebook full of small moments. The girl who remembered a sandwich from freshman year. The girl who told her mother about a boy who carried her books home. The girl who never needed someone impressive. She only needed someone who saw her. Before the ceremony started, I found Emma backstage. She was looking at her speech. I smiled. You're reviewing it again? She looked up. Yes. You already memorized it. Yes. Then why? She closed the paper. Because this time it's different. How? She looked toward the stage. Usually when I speak, I represent everyone. A pause. But today, I'm speaking for myself. I understood. For years, Emma had always been the person everyone expected something from. Today was the first time she was choosing to say something because she wanted to, not because she had to. The ceremony began. Names were called. Students walked across the stage. Families cheered. Then finally, Emma Whitmore. The entire auditorium applauded. She walked onto the stage. She received her diploma. Then the principal handed her the microphone. Emma requested to share a final message. The audience became quiet. She looked at everyone. For a moment, she was silent. Then she spoke. When people describe me, they usually start with what I have done. My grades, my awards, my achievements. A pause. And I used to think that was enough. The screen behind her changed. Photos appeared. Emma winning competitions. Emma leading events. Emma receiving awards. Then the screen changed again. Different pictures. Emma laughing in the library. Emma sitting in the garden. Emma walking home with books. Photos nobody had ever seen. But those things are not the moments I remember most. She smiled. The moments I remember are smaller. The person who sat beside me when I was disappointed. The person who helped me without asking who I was. The person who noticed I was tired before I admitted it. Everyone looked toward me. I felt my face getting warm. Emma continued. People call me the Ice Queen. The audience laughed softly. But the truth is, I was never cold. I was just waiting for someone I could be warm with. The room became completely silent. Then she looked at me and said, that person was Noah Bennett. My heart stopped. Even though I knew. Even though everyone knew. Hearing my name from her still felt unreal. Emma stepped away from the microphone. Then the screen changed one final time. A video started playing. Not the graduation feature. Something new. A collection of moments. Me helping students. Me fixing equipment. Me laughing with friends. Me walking through the school halls. Moments I never knew anyone recorded. Then Emma appeared in the video. A younger Emma. Freshman year. She was sitting in the same courtyard. Looking at the camera. Her voice was softer. I don't know who he is yet. The auditorium became silent. But I think I met someone who makes me want to stop trying to be perfect. The video ended. The audience erupted. I didn't know what to say. Because for years, I thought I was the person standing behind the scenes. The person nobody noticed. But Emma had been watching. She had been noticing. She had been remembering. After the ceremony, we walked outside. The school was almost empty. Everyone had gone to take photos. But Emma and I stayed near the old entrance. The same place where I helped carry her books. Are you happy? I asked. She looked at me. Yes. Because everyone knows? She shook her head. No. Then why? She smiled. Because now you know. I looked confused. Know what? She stepped closer. That you were never just someone who helped me. A pause. You were the person who made me feel like I didn't have to carry everything alone. I smiled. And you were never just the Ice Queen. She raised an eyebrow. No. No. What am I? I thought about it, then answered. The person who remembers the things everyone else forgets. Emma smiled. A real smile. The same smile I saw the day she carried 16 books and refused to admit she needed help. Years later, people would still talk about Emma Whitmore. They would talk about her achievements, her success, her future. But whenever someone asked me, what was the school Ice Queen really like? I always gave the same answer. She was the girl who looked impossible to reach. A pause. But she was actually just waiting for someone to walk beside her. And somehow, I was that person. The boy who helped carry her books home. The boy her mother recognized before she ever introduced me. The boy who never realized he had already become the person Emma talked about most. That's all for today. Remember to subscribe and support us.